We will be discussing on a Madoff fraud case from an auditing perspective. Firstly, we'll be looking at Bernard Madoff's background, then describe what a Ponzi scheme is and how it works. Next, we will review the Madoff fraud case and examine what were the auditor's roles, purpose, and obligations. Who is Bernard Madoff? Bernard Madoff started his firm in 1960 as a penny stock trader with $5,000 earned from working as a lifeguard and sprinkler installer. His business began to grow with the assistance of his father-in-law, Saul Alpern, who is an accountant. By 1992, the Wall Street Journal described him as one of the masters of the off-exchange third market and the bane of the New York Stock Exchange. He has built a highly profitable securities firm, Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities. The 740 million average daily volume of trades executed electronically by the Madoff firm off the exchange equals 9% of the New York exchanges. By 2000, Madoff Securities became one of the top traders of U.S. securities, held $300 million in assets. One of the reasons that Madoff was so successful was that he was highly respected, well-established, and esteemed financial expert. His reputation was bolstered by the fact that he helped found the Nasdaq Stock Exchange and served a term as the chairman. He earned his investors' trust because Madoff Investment Company got the money to them promptly. In addition, he did not tempt investors with unbelievable returns. Instead, he reported moderate, steady, and consistent returns to his investors. What is a Ponzi scheme? A fraudulent investing scam promising high rates of return while little risk to investors. How does it work? The Ponzi scheme generates returns for older investors by acquiring new investors. This scam actually yields the promised returns to earlier investors as long as there are more new investors. These schemes usually collapse on themselves when the new investment stops. Bernard Madoff owned a successful, legitimate brokerage firm. He used the activities of his booming brokerage business to shield his fraudulent activities. Madoff conned his investors and went undetected for decades. How did he do it? Madoff used a so-called Ponzi scheme, which lures investors in by guaranteeing higher returns. Madoff's scheme used the money from new incoming investors to pay off the promised returns to older ones. This makes the operation seem profitable and legitimate, even though no actual profit is being made. Meanwhile, the person behind the scheme pockets the extra money or uses it to expand the operation. As the market's decline accelerated, investors tried to withdraw $7 billion from the firm. However, he only had $200 million to $300 million left. To pay off those investors, Madoff needed new money from other investors. Even with the rush of new investors who believed Madoff was one of the few funds that was still doing well, it was not enough to keep up with the avalanche of withdrawals. Madoff managed to fly under the radar for so long as Madoff was well versed and an active member of the financial industry. In December 2008, Bernard Madoff revealed that the asset management arm of his firm, Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities, was just one big lie. In what he described as a Ponzi scheme, it is estimated he took his investors $65 billion over the course of nearly 2 decades. He swindled celebrities such as Kevin Bacon and Steven Spielberg, banks, and even charities. Now, Z will be discussing all on the auditor's roles, obligations, and the breaches of these obligations.
Created using Powtoon.